Hello everyone, welcome to another episode. Today we have with us Vanshika Anam. Vanshika, I welcome you to the session and I would like to know from you only that to start with, could you please tell us a little about yourself and what you are currently working on?
Sure. Hey, I am Vanshika. I am 17 right now in high school, and I'm from Mumbai. And over the last year, I have been building pretty deeply in AI and the startup space. So most of what I do is revolving around strategy, growth, AI systems, content, building things on the internet, basically. And I also document a lot of that journey on LinkedIn. I started out around a year ago, just being curious about AI and startups. Of course, I knew where I want to get to within 1 or 2 years, but things moved faster, much faster than I expected. So yeah, and here we are now, building startups.
You're working in tech while being a student. It's an amazing thing. Like it's a very good start at a very good age. So can you briefly tell us about your current role and what kind of projects you are involved in?
Sure. So I'm not working in core tech, but right now I'm pretty closely getting access to growth and strategy at Dezy It. And honestly, in early stage startups, it usually ends up being a little of everything. So it's sometimes it's strategy, sometimes it's content, outreach. And a lot of my work involves speaking to leads, understanding users and understanding ICPs better, figuring out positioning, content, outreach, growth systems, things like that, basically. And
So you have
yeah,
okay,
sure.
yeah, you may.
Sure. And I think what's been really interesting is understanding how startups actually grow from the inside. And it's so different from what we see online. We just see those wins, and behind that, the struggle that goes in, or the amount of planning that goes in. And I'm also currently working with a team, Studojo, where we're building. Wait, we'll just take this again. And I'm also working with Studojo, which is focused more on the community and student focused side, where we're helping job seekers and students land internships and jobs through conversations. So I think I've been lucky to see both the AI side and also the youth startup ecosystem side pretty closely over the last year.
It's quite an amazing project you're working on. And like you said, the startup thing, it's really hard to build up with a team and you know the struggle behind it. End results is appreciated, but the hard work is very much in progress.
Definitely.
Okay. Do you think this is one of the best times for a student to be in tech? And what opportunities do you think our generation has today that weren't as accessible before?
Right. Okay. So I think being in tech right now is such an advantage because everything around us has quietly like shaped into tech. Let's say there's AI, even using AI. If you know the basics of how AI works, or let's say you're using a computer or using application, how that works, knowing the basics of it is very important. So even I'm not working in core tech, but when I just started out, I did this course which is called CS50 Python from Harvard, and I'd say such an amazing course. I've recommended it to everybody that I've spoken to. And while I was starting out, I knew nothing about code. So just looking at those 500, 600 lines of code, not understanding even a single thing. But once I finished that, it just gave me a confidence that, whenever I'm looking at a code or whenever I'm looking at any application, I at least understand how it's working. So understanding tech in this era, even if you're from any other sector, you're from finance, any other sector, if you're a student, understanding tech is a very important aspect. And right now, I think just learning tech is also very easy. You just go to the internet, you have thousands of courses online. Even the course that I did, it's accessible for everybody. And just thinking about it that it's from Harvard and students from Harvard are learning the same thing as you are is such an amazing thing. So, of course, it's the best time to be in tech right now.
Yeah, you mentioned you are a commerce student, but you're building your career in AI. It's quite amazing. And that makes us move to the next question that how does you think this AI thing help you in coming to this point? Like you have mentioned few about it in the last thing you answered, but how can you suggest students like who really want to build a career? So can you give the overview of the path that you followed in your life?
Okay. So for the past 1 year, being very unhinged, Chat GPT has been one thing which is very overrated. I know everybody is switching to Claude, Chat GPT. I think it's not the model. One thing that I've been doing is, let's say I'm stuck in a product that I'm building or a change that I'm making, a content that I'm posting. What I would do is basically feed everything into Chat GPT, and it helps me understand better. So not just Chat GPT, you use any model. Just try to brainstorm with it is what I do. And let's say I'm facing any issue, I'm facing a very basic login issue. I think putting that into ChatGPT will give me some answer. So even if it is very basic, just asking AI or brainstorming it, going back and forth with AI has led me to like doing everything. So, something as basic as setting up GitHub. So when I was starting to set it up, build a project, I did not know how and what to do. Even if I have like a huge document in place, I'll just feed it all into GPT and tell me what to do. Now, this is very a basic answer, but if you just go back and forth with AI in terms of what you want to build, how you should build that, and the kind of internet access that AI has right now, I think it's like a weapon in your hand. You can basically do anything with it. You can go back and forth asking, how you should do a particular thing, what's the best way to do it, and it'll basically give you the best of the tools online, or the best of the courses to do that. So I think that's how I've been using AI. Basically, just going back and forth, brainstorming with AI, telling all my ideas, and filtering out the bad ones, and not just having a yes man say yes to everything that I'm suggesting.
Okay, now that you have mentioned about the AI models, we are seeing that new AI models have launched almost every week. There is a change or there is something new. Which tools do you think are genuinely useful, and which ones do you believe that will have the biggest impact in upcoming years?
Right. So for now, I think the best tool right now online, and I've been using a lot, is apart from ChatGPT, is Anthropic. So all the three tools from Anthropic, which is Claude Code, Claude Cowork, and Claude itself. It's so flexible where you can create your own skills, add your own skills. And recently I also got a lot of credits from the YC startup school that I attended. So I have so many tools that I need to experiment with, and I have been experimenting with them. But I think Claude Code has been one of the best, the easiest tools that I've used till now for coding. And Claude Cowork for basically using my laptop to set up some automation or some operational thing that I do not want to do, but it's very easy to automate. I'll be doing it with Claude Cowork. And apart from that, I think right now I've just been focusing more on core tech tools like Cursor, as I said, Claude Code. So I've been experimenting with these itself, but I have a lot more tools in line that I want to experiment with, which have come through the YC AI stack. I recently used Wapi for creating voice agents. So there's this cool thing that I built where I'm going to add it in my portfolio as well, which is, what Wapi does is basically lets you build voice agents, and you can train your voice agents based on your data. You can have your own voice in your voice agent. So something that I thought of building and I have been building is a voice agent, which is basically me, which can live in my portfolio. And let's say a recruiter or anybody who wants to talk to me can talk to my agent as if it were me. So, it has all the details about my projects, what I've been working on, what I'm good at, what I like building. So I think that was like a cool experiment that I did. So I just tried to keep building different, tools or different integrations there, just playing around with AI. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay, it's a quite cool thing you guys. I got to know by your answers. Let's move to the next question. Startup culture is growing rapidly, and you are also the founder of your company, and you're the founding staff. So, what is?
So I'm not founder. I'm just in the founding team. So yeah.
Oh, you are in the founding team. Sorry to mention. What excites you the most about startups, and what do you think they are such a great opportunities for the students like who are currently want to be involved in early startups? Is it good for the students as a fresher to join a startup or to start a company of their own?
I think yes. So the main you want to implement, you just think of an idea, you get it approved, and you just go with it. You just try to experiment. There's a lot of space for experiment, a lot of place to fail as well and to grow as well. So the faster you fail, the faster you grow. So I think in startups there's not much of a financial liability where you're burning excess amount of money and you can't experiment at all. You need to follow a same structure. In startups it's not like that. You can just do anything and everything as long as it aligns with the vision. And another thing is that both the startups that I'm working with, a lot of young people that I interact with, even though they're a little older to me, but pretty young. I mean, below 20, below 25 is such a young age to be. And talking to them, getting to know their ideologies, being connected to the founders very closely, and understanding how they think. So, it's been on my, it's a goal that, I'll be creating something of my own. So for that, I think having such a close insight of founders, of how they think, how they execute is very important. So getting that level of access, I think, is possible only in startups. And I think that's the main thing, that you grow in months, which would take years in an in an MNC or a bigger startup.
Yeah, startups give you the practical knowledge of the field, which we don't get it by the books in the college. Like it's all like in our engineering, we participate in hackathons and everything, so that gives us the practical knowledge of building a product.
Exactly.
So I could say that, and it gives you flexibility to network, build your network about it. So it's a good thing for my side also. Okay, I would like to go to the another question. Like for students who feel that they don't have exceptional skills yet, so what can they do today to stand out and create opportunities like for themselves?
I think everybody starts very confused. I mean, I remember the last year, exactly at this time, I was so confused. I did not know what startup I want to work in. What do I even want to do? I was super confused every other day, just, feeling overwhelmed with all of the expectations. Sometimes I want to be a creator, I want to be a founder, no, I want to intern at a very big company. So there's like a lot of things that go on at the same time simultaneously, and I think everybody starts confused. And even right now, being at a stage where people feel that, okay, she has everything sorted, but I think it's not like that. And there are other set of worries that you need to think about while being at this phase as well. Even the people who I speak to, who I think have actually succeeded, and I speak to them, they are also confused. So I think everybody starts off confused, and at every point of the time you are confused. But coming back to the exceptional skills yet, I think nobody has such an exceptional skill when they start out. But just think of one thing that you feel really excited about. Let's say it's content, let's say it's AI, anything it can be, and try to research more about it and reach out to people. So even what I did was, when I was starting out, basically I did not even know what I mean, management, content, growth, I did not know. I just wanted to work with a startup or work with anybody and gain some experience. So what I started doing was, I started reaching out to people, to the creators I knew, to this, like, not founders, I did not know anybody there, but to basically to the creators. I started reaching out through Instagram, through a personal account. Now that's such a weird thing. I mean, why would you even respond to a personal account? But I got so many replies and so many opportunities. So I worked with this creator who has over 35K followers, and I got to work with him on how he operates, how he manages everything. He owns agencies, how everything works. So that was purely out of reaching out. I just sent a message and it happened. And I've always heard about it, just send a message and everything will, click off. I know it doesn't click off that way, but it works. It definitely works. And that is exactly what we're doing at Studojo itself, right? Applying to boards is like competing with 1,000 other people who are with the same resume. So I think reaching out has been the one thing. And another thing has been referrals. So you connect with the person, whoever you're working with, so well that, they also refer you to somebody else. And it's as simple as getting the job done as you promised. So just, if you promise like a good website, do it, and you'll basically just ask for a referral, or, ask that, if you know somebody that needs the same thing, like, tell it to me, I'll do it. And people are actually genuinely very helpful. I mean, I used to think that, why would even somebody help me, or why would even somebody trust 16-year-old when she's starting out? But people do trust. People are ready to take a bet on you if you're taking a bet on yourself as well. So even if you don't have an exceptional skill, just reach out to people and just tell them that, you want to learn something, and sometimes you will have to work for free, and it's okay to do that. And even I've done that, like, at the very start, but try to do it. It's okay.
It's important to initiate, right? It's very important to take an initiative whenever you want to reach to a certain level. Nice. So have there been any moments when you are quite overwhelmed, and like people get overwhelmed, like when in the learning phase they get like doubt themselves, they panic that okay, this is not done. So was there any phase when you felt like that, and how did you move forward to it?
Right. So I think, there have been a lot of moments where everything is right, but there are some things that go wrong, and they just overwhelm me very quickly. It just gets to me where, things are going wrong, and there's a lot of stuff piling up, and it happens. But I don't think I've ever strongly doubted myself that, how will I get out of this? What will happen? I'm just done with it, done with everything. It doesn't happen like that. But I do get overwhelmed. I don't let it set to my mind. And the one thing that I do is I just talk to my dad. That is the easiest thing that I do. I just go ahead and I just tell him that, I'm facing this is what is happening, and, I'm just very overwhelmed. And he has his way of just making me believe that, everything is going to sort itself out. Just believe in yourself and keep going. And I think that is as easy as just keep going. Everybody says the cliche advice, and I think one thing that I've learned is the cliche advices are the best ones, where everybody is told keep going, don't give up. I think it's the same thing that you need to do. There's nothing exceptional or like a secret recipe that there is. You just keep going, and even if you're doubting yourself, doubt yourself, take a day off, cry all you want, and then next day again get back to work. That's what I do basically.
What a wonderful answer. You have a very strong backing of positive energy. I can feel that. This makes us to the last question of our session, and it is, if you had to give one advice to the students who really want to pursue their career in technologies, and they're still confused or unsure about their future, so how would you guide them, and some few advice?
Sure. Okay. So this advice would be for me as well and for other students as well, which is going to be one thing that you don't need to have it figured out early, because we see on LinkedIn and even on Instagram people making $1,000, $20,000 at 16, at 15, and you just get so overwhelmed that what is wrong with me? Why can't I do it? But I think we don't see the effort behind that $20,000, which has been 5 years, where they started at 11 when you were just playing football. You did not know when they started. So even if you start right now, you do that by 20, you do that by 25. So I think it's okay to not have it figured out. You just need to keep moving to the next step. And something that my father says as well, that you just take the next step that you can see. What we tend to do is we just see the long-term vision. Let's say you want to be a creator. You say, I'll never get to 100K. And I think if you're at 0 followers, how can you even think about that? First, just think about your first 10 followers, then 100, 1,000. Just go that way. It doesn't feel much overwhelming then. You just need to get to 10 followers. It's fine. So I think that one thing. And the second thing is that, which I'm also working on, is basically not caring about what others are thinking or what others would think of me. Where, I tend to, when I just started out, I tend to think a lot about what the other person is thinking about me, and how they would be judging me for doing this, doing that. But I think nobody is actually that bothered by me. They have like a set of problems that they need to solve, and I'm the least of what they are thinking. So these two things, that you don't need to have it figured out. Just keep moving and don't care about what others are thinking. It's your life. Do it, and it'll happen.
Okay. Vanshika, this was really insightful conversation. I enjoyed it a lot. I think what stands out the most, that our generation has access to the incredible opportunities, especially in AI and startups. And the key is to stay curious and keep building, like whatever you said till now, and have the confidence just not to doubt ourselves, but move forward. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts. It was very nice to meet you, and it was a very positive energy. I felt it throughout the session. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.